Johnny, switching gears. This is for you, Amy.
Okay.
Have you noticed any new trends in the North Texas region? I'm gonna actually give a little bit more context to that. You did also talk about the increase in rental rates, year after year with renewals, but what about what's going on with HOA overreach? Because we can all speak on that, whether it's property managed wise or just being a homeowner. So what are you noticing with that?
Oh, I got a total surprise a couple of weeks ago. I had an agent refer a client over that they had already closed on the transaction, and they wanted to put the house on the market for property management. I was like, oh, thank goodness, we need more inventory for rentals. So I pop on over there and put my sign in the yard, and about 2 hours later, I get a call from the HOA. We see your sign in the front yard of this house over here. It was actually in Allen, Texas, and I said, oh, okay, well, great. Do you want to lease it? He goes, no, I'm in charge of the HOA. We don't allow rentals after we already have our max of rental properties. And I said, well, what did they do? I don't know, but you can't rent the property. That is a huge problem for this investor that just bought this house. So what we're seeing now is a lot of HOAs have got a lot of overreach into rentals. Texas legislature just passed the Senate Bill 1588, which is a huge HOA bill. A lot of good changes in that. There was a lot of overreach into HOAs wanting to screen our applicants, have all the contact information, including date of birth, social security number, driver's license, all of the identifying information that really should be within a privacy policy of a property management company. But the other issue that we're seeing on the ability to rent your property, a lot of HOAs have put into their bylaws and their CC&Rs that they have a limit. You can only have 10% of the total units of properties, either houses, condos, townhomes, whatever. This applies to all types of real estate. Only 10% can be rentals, or only 20% can be rentals. And it's like, that's a tough one. And if you actually get a house in a homeowners association that has one of these limits, you could have a situation that we experienced last week, that the house has been rented for years. And as long as they renewed, no problems. But as soon as we had to put a new tenant in it, they were over their limit of 20%. We had to go to the bottom of the list. We could not rent the property at all. The landlord has an asset they cannot rent. That is a huge private property issue. And we've been working with the government affairs group to kind of roll this up to Texas Realtors so they can work on it. I can tell you one of my favorite things about TREPAC is there is somebody looking at 4,000 bills that come out from the legislature, and they say, okay, there's 4,000, which is completely overwhelming, and I would not want to have to read all that. Here's 30 that apply to realtors in Texas, and this could be commercial, farm and ranch, housing, condos, townhomes, whatever. So that's one of the things I love about TREPAC is I can be involved without having to read 4,000 different bills and see what the different issues are and what's the pros and cons of those specific, say, 30 bills or whatever. But the HOAs have gotten a little crazy, and it's an issue. It's an issue for our sales agents, our realtors that are out there trying to sell to investors. It's an issue for our property managers. It's an issue for tenants, because if we can't have investors buy properties, we won't have rental properties. Our inventory is going to plummet even more than it already is. So,
well, and again, that goes back to demonizing landlords. Everybody wants to sit there and say, oh, the big evil landlord that's sitting there and trying to profit on the weak. And that's not the case. People need rental properties, or else there wouldn't be, like you said, multiple offers on rental applications right now. And so, like Richard, and I get what Richard's coming from, but Richard, this is where it's a new problem, because he said if the buyer's agent didn't know a property cannot be leased, I would say that agent lacked geographic competency. But what Amy is saying, it's changing faster than we can keep up with it. And so I have seen that, because I've got first-time home buyers in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, which is also the primary bread and butter for most of the investors acquiring the properties right now. And we're seeing properties go back on the market because they'll say in private marks, no fault to the seller or the home, but unfortunately it was an investor. And we found out once we got the HOA certificate, the resale certificate, that rentals were no longer allowed or it was beyond the percentage. Here's a side note. I will say where this benefited me one time. Okay. I did get the first time home buyers and we wrote our first offer. And the guy said, we've had multiple cash offers for investors, but because Heartland requires you to reside in the community for a minimum of 12 months prior to converting it to a rental property, we had to say no. My clients got it under value, not at list price, FHA financing, seller pay title policy, and a home warranty, and it's only 3 years old. So
I think you found a unicorn.
Yeah, I did find a unicorn. Yes. But it's so in that one instance, I was like, heck yeah, thank you, Heartland, for having that implicate. But I also work with 30% of my clientele is investors, and we're trying to find good quality product to be able to acquire and then rent out. And so, you know, that's really difficult. When I am scouring to find good acquisitions, I'm having to see, okay, can I find another listing that maybe had it in private remarks? Because Richard, going back to professional competency, now that we know that this is an issue, we all need to be aware of this, especially if we work with investors. Thanks for watching, and check out our full discussion at the link in the show notes below. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, which helps us get introduced to more like-minded people just like you.